are working with your partner or touching base with your partner, getting ready for your presentation, especially if it is next week. And if not, then you can kind of just work on some of the other things going on. All right, have I given you enough time? Everybody's got your quotes out, your questions out, and you're pulling up chapters 4 and 5 at least to start with? Listos? That means, are we ready? All right, so let's talk about chapter 4. I'm going to start with some of the questions, and if you can help us out, please raise your hand. Don't forget, I'm keeping track of participation, and I would say half of you have a few points, and the other half of you have 0. So make sure your goal should probably be to make sure you get yourself a point approximately every day, right? Okay, so chapter 4 and 5, question 4 says, define ayúdame and apúrate. Why does Sonia hear these words so often? So somebody want to start by telling us what ayúdame and apúrate mean? All right, Kylan starts off.
Ayúdame means help me, and how you say it again? Aporte means hurry up, and she usually hears it when like her ama needs her, like when she's dealing with her drunkle.
Right. So her ama is her mom, right? That's what she calls her mom. And yeah, her mom is always saying those two things to her, right? Constantly. Ayúdame, apúrate. Ayúdame, apúrate. Good. All right. Then I think in chapter 5, I think she talks about her idea of Príncipe Charming. What does she think about Príncipe Charming? Príncipe Charming. Appreciate your hand, Kylan, but I'm going to make you rest for a minute. There are 20 some other people out there. Who's going to help us out? Tell me, what does she think about Príncipe Charming? Luca.
She thinks he's too fictional to be actual person.
Yeah, she's not buying it, right? So Príncipe Charming, Prince Charming, this whole idea of Prince Charming doesn't exist, right? She doesn't believe in it. She thinks it's a fairy tale, etc. Good. Okay, and then question number 6 says, how does Sonia plan to be part of a new generation of Latinas? This is a good quote that will probably come back up when we talk about our quotes. Who got that one? How does Sonia plan to be a part of a new generation of Latinas? Can't remember. It was either chapter 5 or 6. Probably 5. Tough crowd. Tough crowd. Somebody that did it. Raise your hand. Awkward. All right. I'm going to let Luca go again, but then he can't go anymore. You guys have to step it up here. All right. Go ahead, Luca.
I might be wrong, but I think she said she was going to like make the man do like the traditionally woman's work, like he'll clean dishes. I think, hold on, I have like the quote right here.
Sure.
I will tell my man, wash your own dishes and make sure you use hot water. Boys never use hot water when they wash dishes. So her idea is to make like her husband do the woman's work.
Yeah, or just like not do it all herself, right? So certainly that's part of it. Absolutely. I had some other stuff in there, but absolutely that answers the question, right? She's not going to be this stay at home, cook, clean, have babies kind of girl. Good. Absolutely. Anybody else have anything to add to that? Anything kind of different? Gus, were you going to say anything?
She said she'd pay her own bills.
Yeah, totally. That whole idea of being more independent, not being reliant on her husband, pay her own bills. Anybody else have anything? I had one more thing on that. What'd she say about an education? Anybody have anything related to that or remember that part? crowd, tough crowd. Alyssa, I feel like you're maybe up. Go ahead, Alyssa.
She kept mentioning how like she was gonna be the first to like graduate and how she was a girl and how like no one really expected her to do that, but she was gonna be the first in her family to graduate.
Totally, right? This new generation of Latinas, right? They're gonna not do all the housework and the cooking and the cleaning, and they're gonna go to school and get an education. She talks a lot. There's a quote I'll bring up later, but yeah, where she talks about basically like an education is freedom, it's power, right? And that's something that a lot of Latina women don't always have, and that's something that's really important to her. Good. Okay, so let's talk about the quotes. So have your quotes out, and kind of like I want the group to do, you guys have to lead this conversation, all right? So if you're not doing the reading or you're not writing down your quotes, you're gonna have to step it up for next week, because this is not just you sit here and write down everything I say. This is, let's come up with together some things that stand out here. So I'm going to chapter 4. So what you should do is also go to chapter 4. So go to page 17, and let's kind of start there. Look through what you have for chapter 4. Kind of like to go in order-ish, not within the chapter, but just like keep it to chapter 4 for a minute. So somebody want to start us off? You got to tell us something that stood out to you in chapter 4 and give me a page number. And then we would all go to that page so we can kind of look at it and we can either add it to what we have or maybe we already have it. So what's one quote that you thought was noteworthy in chapter 4? This is awkward. Why do I only have one hand? Awkward. Okay, this can't keep happening. So everybody's right now looking through chapter 4 and finding some quotes for me. Okay, that's what your job is. You're reading and you're writing down quotes as you go, because every day this is what we're going to do. Okay, Kylan, go ahead. Tell me what you have.
For chapter 4, under discrimination, I put at the healthcare clinicas, the way the police treat us, the fact that we do most of the toilet cleaning in the restrooms of all the hotels, ... There are so many of us here in this country yet, ... You're holding a second-class bus pass on a first-class train. That's under page 80.
Yep. Okay, perfect. I'm going to actually even expand that. So my I had a lot of dots there. So mine starts on the very bottom of page 17. So if you guys want to get there, look at it. Very bottom, and then it continues all the way on to everything she just said. So it starts at the very bottom. It says more brown-skinned men in American jails than are in American universities. Okay, ... And then I started right where she did, kind of mid the next paragraph. At the healthcare clinicas, the way the policia treat us, the fact that we do most of the toilet cleaning in the restrooms of all the hotels, ... Last line of that paragraph, no matter where I go, I feel like an outsider. So I thought all of that kind of can go under discrimination. You can split it up into 2, or you can keep it as 1. And yeah, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself, right? There are more brown-skinned men in American jails than in American universities. Okay, that is a classic example of what is wrong, right, with our society in terms of discrimination. There shouldn't be more Black men or brown men in jail than in university. There's no reason for that, right, biologically. So there's that is a good and very relevant example of what's going on today, right? So you keep going, right? Healthcare, the way the policia treat us. I mean, that is just super current events, right? All the stuff going on with the way minorities are treated by the police. And that is exactly what she's referencing here. So Like I said, you can go back and relook at that if you didn't the first time, and you can split that up into 2 quotes or 1 quote. I even had actually at the very, again, the bottom of 17, but right above that says, when it came to brown people in El Norte, the odds were stacked against us, big and tall. And then it kind of goes into all that. So yeah, definitely a lot of good discrimination, not good, but good quotes for discrimination, which is not good. All right, good. Anything else in this chapter? I'm trying to see. I actually only had one more. Anybody else have any other ones in that chapter? Oh, let me see. Oh, no worries, Yasmin. If you're still there and you want to log on and off, you can, or just do the best you can. Anybody else have anything? I had one other one. Go ahead, Todd, what'd you get?
Wait, did she mention on 17 about the odds?
Yeah, go ahead. You can say that one.
Did she mention, however, I did know that when it came to brown people in El Norte, the odds were stacked against us, big and tall?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that certainly goes along with it. So where did you put that?
For discrimination.
Absolutely. Yep. So you can kind of divide that up into a couple, or you can put it all as one. Good. Thanks for sharing. All right. I got one more on page 22. It's kind of a random one. Okay. Go to page 22, kind of in the middle, the upper middle of the page. I thought this went with values of Hispanic families. Okay. So, at the very bottom of the first paragraph, it says stuff like miscarriages and homosexual relatives always got swept under the rug. So that again kind of links into values of Hispanic families. A lot of things get swept under the rug that people don't want to talk about. I would say in general, Hispanic families tend to be Catholic, which means that there's that element of religion in there, that maybe miscarriages and homosexual relatives are not something that people really want to talk about. So I thought that kind of went with values of Hispanic families. All right, then the rest, I didn't have anything else in chapter 4. I'm going to go on to chapter 5. Let's see, I had 2 in chapter 5. Anybody have anything you want to share from chapter 5? Awkward. What's going on? Did we just not read it? I don't know. Are we not finding quotes? Help me understand what's going on here. Obviously, Kylan's got some. I don't know. Are we not reading? Do we need to catch up this weekend? Yes. Is that what's happened here? I mean, be honest. I mean, it's like I can't have a conversation by myself. I've got like 2 people with me. All right. Well, we'll go back to Kylan. Listen, this cannot happen next week. All right. So I don't know what's happened. I see a few people put some in the chat. I can read that in a minute. But this is how we're going to do it. So now you know the setup. All right. I'm not going to hold it against you, but by next week, you got to make sure you're reading and you're writing down quotes and you're writing down what chapter they came from, etc., so that, you are with us. Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna, I don't know. I mean, you know what to do. Okay. So Kylan, you want to share one with us? She's on a roll. She's getting all the points today.
Yeah. So I put for pages 34 to 35 on chapter 5.
34, 35.
The men go off and do what they want. That. What did you say?
I was just trying to get them on the right page. So you said 34,
What did you say?
page 34.
Yeah, 34, and it goes on to 35. The men go off and do what they want. while the women stay home and cook and clean and feed the kids and worry. And I put that under expectations Hispanic women.
Yep. Perfect. I did too. Okay. I'm going to kind of say some of that. So if you're on 34 and 35, expectations of Hispanic women, okay, is kind of where I thought this fit too. So I have part of what you had, Kylan, and then I had a little bit of another one. So I would go in the middle of that big paragraph that starts with okay. It says, that's why an education isn't just about a dumb piece of paper to me. It's also about freedom and power. An education means I won't have to be any macho man's two-breasted slave. And then it goes down to the beginning of the next paragraph. Of course, machistas hate this idea. That's because they want their women weak. Okay, so let's talk about this idea of machismo. Basically, it comes from like a Latin, it's a Latin word, it's a Spanish word. And it's this idea that men kind of are in control and men have the power and men control their women, basically. Okay, it's called machismo, and it's kind of just this attitude that kind of is intermixed with Hispanic culture, but also like other cultures too, right? So she really is making a point here, absolutely, about education is about freedom and power. It's about giving her control of her life. And, you know, if you look at any society, right, the idea of educating people is to help empower them. If you look at impoverished countries or you look at countries where there's a lot of inequality, it tends to start with education, right? If you don't teach people things, then they don't have any power. And so that's why education is so important, because it allows people to have power. So yeah, absolutely. I like that. And then there was a little bit about that on the previous page, page 33. At the top, it talks about Latino men suffer from too much machismo. They think they're tough. They think they're cool. They think they're entitled to order a woman around. Okay. So those were kind of the two that I had there that both have to do with expectations of Hispanic women. All right. So actually, that's what I had. Chapter 6 is actually super short, and I kind of underlined one about familia, but I didn't think it was that different than anything we already had. So listen, okay, before we go on, let's talk here. Now you should understand, all right, after going through class yesterday and today, you should have a good understanding of what I need. All right, don't stress if you didn't have anything for today. Obviously, it was a little weird, but you know, I'm not calling on people one at a time because I'm giving you a chance to do better on this next week. All right, it's weird, we're not in person, but that's what I need you to do. Okay, I need you to answer your questions as you read, and I need you to jot down quotes with page numbers. Okay, that's why on here it says chapter blank and page blank, so you can keep track of it. So then when we get to the relevant chapter, you can share. There's no right or wrong quote, right? If you think it goes with one of those topics, write it down. If you're not sure, then you can certainly ask or ask the group. But if it seems like it fits to you, it's probably fine. Okay, so don't overthink it. Everybody's going to have slightly different quotes. I don't want you all to have the same ones, right? Different things are going to resonate with different people. Does that make sense if you didn't understand what you needed to do? Okay, you've got to stay on top of your reading. As I mentioned when I did the overview of things, I'm going to start doing pop quizzes too. So a couple days next week, we're going to start with pop quiz. So you got to make sure you're on top of your reading. If you haven't been, I mean, the good news is, you know, it's fairly quick reading, right? The chapters tend to not be very long, but you need to catch up this weekend. All right. If you look here, let me share my screen with you. If you look each day, right, under Tarea, oops, that's not your class, JK. If you go to your current lesson, you'll see, so chapters for homework are 7 through 9. You can look here, right? Or you can also always go here to class resources, go to the overview of the whole thing, Immigration and Sonia, and there's a whole calendar there. that tells you what date everything is due. See, so today was chapters 4 through 6 that we were discussing. On Monday, we're doing 7 through 9. On Tuesday, we're doing 10 and 11. Okay, it says chapters are due the day they are discussed. So you can see I did these days. So if you need overview is there. Since I'm here, let's talk about your group presentation, because that's something I'm going to give you time to get with your group on here in a minute. And especially if you're going next week, I want you to spend a few minutes talking about this and making sure you're good to go. So your presentation will include 3 things. Okay, it's listed right here. A collage of symbols represents the main ideas from your chapters. You can do a PowerPoint, a poster, a Google slide, etc. You can do a picture if you like to draw. If somebody's artistic, you can, I don't know, I'm pretty open, some sort of artistic representation to help you summarize your chapters. Important quotes, we just did that. They help you lead the class discussion. So you're going to do what I did. You say, okay, what did you guys find for chapter 7? And then hopefully you'll get more help than I did today. And then you can add some. So you're prepared, but you're also opening up to the class. Then this game or activity. All right. You can talk about the chapters, the quotes. You can do a Kahoot. You can do a Jeopardy game. You could do a bingo game. You could have us draw something. You could have us do some sort of creative thing. I said, think about your English class. Think about something you've done when you've read a book before that's been fun and interesting, and steal that idea. Okay. So that's the overview of the presentation. Let me just remind you of 2 more things, and then I'll let you get to it. So just going back to your current lesson, I'll talk to you about this Venn diagram. Okay, that's the activity for today. Some of you did not turn in your bookmark yesterday. Okay, I don't know why. Turn that in. Okay, every time I give you a little activity, then I give you points for that, and they will add up. So I'll show you this Venn diagram in a minute, and then you can turn it in here. And then let me also remind you, if you are going, this is where you jot down, you organize your group planning. So like the group that's going on Monday, Anna and Tony, I want you to get me this document all filled in before Monday. Okay, so if you're ready to turn it in today, you can. If not, you can get it to me over the weekend. Then Dariana, Jasmine, and Alejandro, you guys are going on Tuesday, so I will want this filled in by Monday. Okay, it says on there that I want it like a day or 2 before you present. And the idea is really for your benefit, because it should make sure that you are organized. Okay, here's what that document looks like. Okay, so it just asks you to summarize, list everything here so that you are organized and ready to go. Here's the rubric. Okay, this organization and planning you won't do well on if you don't turn this form in. Okay, so let me just tell you about this Venn diagram, and then I'm going to divide up, let you go to your breakout room. If you need to talk to your people because you're going soon, you can work with your people. If you're not going for another week or 2, you can say, all right, let's go work on our Venn diagrams, and we'll touch base next week. So let me just pull this Venn diagram up real quick. It shouldn't take you too long to do, but if you're behind in your reading and you need to turn it in over the weekend after you've read, that's fine. I will take it over the weekend. Okay, so it looks like this. A Venn diagram kind of has 2 circles and then something in the middle. You should be able to type right on here. Okay. It says type 10 things specific to you in your life. That's going to go over here. 10 things specific to Sonia and her life, and 5 things you guys have in common. Okay, so again, if you're behind in your reading, actually, I don't want you to turn this in today. I want you to read first, and then you'll have more to write about. Okay, so just list some things about her, some things about you, and some things you have in common. All right, and then you're going to turn that in on through Canvas. Okay. So any quick questions before I get you in your breakout rooms? I'm trying to leave you, let's see how much time we got here, 50. Yeah, you have about 15 to 20 minutes. So again, I want you to touch base with your people. And if you're going soon, just stay on and work with your people. And if you're not going anytime soon, you can say peace out and go work on your bookmark, your Venn diagram, or your reading. Okay, any questions for me? All right, you know what you need to do. Don't go anywhere. It takes me a minute to make these breakout rooms. And so you can just start working on your bookmark, or start working on your Venn diagram, or start reading, while I divide up your groups real quick. So do not leave. Okay, so I've got your breakout rooms organized. I'm going to send you to them. A few of you don't have a partner because your partner either never showed up or I don't know, left. So I guess you can stay on and we can talk. If you're going soon, that's more of a concern than if you're not going for a while, then it's probably not that big of a deal. So I will send you to your room. Let's see, Caleb and Tony, your partners are not here, so you can stay on with me for a second. And anybody else that has a clarification question, stay on. And otherwise, if you're good to go and you know what you're doing and you know what you need to have done by Monday, then go check in your room and do what you need to do. Okay? All right. Have a good weekend. Stick around for a minute on here if you need to. Otherwise, go get with your person and check in.